So I was vegan for a bit.
Okay, cool.
I was veggie for 8 years.
Nice.
Me and my sister. And we both had really bad reactions to it.
Oh, really?
We tried everything. We were having blood tests, we were supplementing, we were just changing up our diet, trying to find if we had any intolerances. It was really sad because for me it was like a loss of identity.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because I really was aligned to it, I really believe it, but now I've sort of changed my opinion just because of my experience. And I think that factory farming is like, it needs to be like dismantled.
100%. I think that's one of the things that most people agree on, even if they are a meat eater.
No one really likes it.
Exactly. It's such a horrible way to treat animals. The reason why it's still around is because so many people want the products so regularly, right?
Yeah. I tend to buy, I get from local farm shops, and it's from a couple miles down the road. I know it's the end of an animal's life is there's always a moral question there, and I would rather be living that lifestyle.
So so I can understand your position, it's that you intellectually agree that in an ideal world we should all be vegan. It's just that it didn't work for you, and so it's sort of like you've had to make that sacrifice.
Exactly.
You know?
I think that I have to put my health on a different weighting to how I would like everything to be. And if there was a way to be fully vegan and health needs were met, then I'd do it tomorrow.
That's amazing to hear. Compared to factory farming, farming system where animals are allowed to be outdoors and live good lives and stuff is obviously better, even if sending them to slaughter and the mutilations that still happen are still obviously cruel, right? But it's better, right, by comparison. And I also acknowledge that some people just can't be vegan because of their situation, like if there's someone living in an area of the world where it's just snow and they have to fish to survive, right? I acknowledge there are some people that can't do it, but my position is that the people that can should, right? We're causing unnecessary harm and suffering to animals. I think that when it's necessary for our survival and our health, you can justify it, right? But when it's unnecessary, that needs to stop. Would you agree with that?
I think that's absolutely fine. I'm going to be pedantic for the sake of it, if you don't mind. So your proposition was it would be better if there was no farming of animals at all. So that would mean that the people who can't live that lifestyle, what situation are they in?
So there's the second thing I wanted to bring up, which is that as we go forward into the future, there are new ways of creating meat without doing this to animals, right? Have you heard of cell-cultured meat?
Yeah.
So obviously that's not commercially available at the moment, but it's getting there, right? So when that does become more commercially available, would you switch from farmed animals to cell-cultured meat?
I would want to see long-term studies of how people react to it. I'll admit, I don't know a lot about it.
They're making the cells grow almost like it would in a womb, just without it turning into a sentient animal. It's just making flesh.
If it is as simple as that, then I'd be fully on board.
I grow cells in my job. We're doing a study with monocytes macrophages right now, which is cells taken from blood.
Oh, okay,
We clean it, we isolate it. It's like the white blood cells. And then we culture them in dishes, and then they grow up. But then they have a time span where they eventually die.
Okay, exactly. So you understand that there's, So they obviously just would encourage these stem cells to grow flesh, and then they would obviously sell that as meat, even though it didn't come from a sentient animal who suffered and got killed, right? And so if it was possible for you to eat that rather than actual meat, you would make that switch. I'm assuming if it was healthy, right?
Yeah, assuming there was no long-term dangers.
So that's the kind of future I'm sort of envisioning with that sign. It's just I would like to see a world where people who are eating meat are eating cell-cultured meat and stops paying for animals to suffer and get slaughtered, right?
Where do you stand on hunting then?
Hunting. I think hunting is less cruel than paying for factory farms, but it's still not an ethical thing to do. In the same way that if I just saw a dog over there living a nice life and I shot them, they're living a nice life, but I didn't need to shoot, you know what I mean? So some people get more angry at hunting than factory farms, and I think that's kind of the wrong way to go about it. Because I think if someone pays for a pig to suffer for their entire life and get forced into a gas chamber versus someone who shoots a deer who's had a nice life, I disagree with both, but that one's causing less misery, you know?
Having closer proximity is a larger emotional connection to it.
Yes, that's probably what it is. It makes you feel more emotional,
When I was vegan and my friends knew I was, in situations where, because I live in the countryside, so a lot of people hunt, we get introduced to people who are hunters, and they'll be like, oh, we'll keep I'm Gabe. We'll keep Gabe away from them. It might get a bit ugly, but they're not realising that I would probably agree with that person on more things than I would someone who gets bacon from Tesco.
Exactly. One thing you did say that I think is an important takeaway, if you agree with all the things I'm saying, that farming and slaughtering animals is cruel, and if there are alternatives that we should move towards them, you can still have a voice in this movement. Do you know what I mean? Like, if people are standing up for animals, saying that we need to create a more ethical future for them, I think that that movement doesn't need to be made up of just people who are 100% vegan, you know? Exactly. I'm more for pushing for progress rather than perfection, if you get what I'm saying.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, it seems like we mostly agree.
So.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure anyway.
Yeah, pleasure to talk to you. Do you mind if I give you a card to like my YouTube channel and stuff like that? Cool.